Thank you for joining our term and cooperative contracts roofing for solar projects. My name is Rob Quinarans. I'm going to get us kicked off here today. I see some existing clients and some new ones. You know, term contracts, piggybacking has been around for a long time. It's been used by many different cities and counties. We have over 60 term contracts, and there's a lot of advantage to piggybacking that you're going to hear about today. The fact that the cost of going out to purchasing, but more importantly, quality of contractor that you can select. We've already had to be vetted out through competitive bids. That means our pricing and qualifications have already been vetted out by many different county and state municipalities, as well as national with our co-ops. So you're going to learn a lot about that today. We do these webinars, about a dozen a year. The next one is May 6th, hurricane preparedness. Good timing for this because we're going into hurricane season. And then you can see our previous webinars at our website, advancedroofing.com, and you'll learn about commercial roof life cycle, solar energy, safety for your roofs. This is about, do you have the proper railings around the perimeter, hatch access, egress, to keep vendors and your employees safe. That's a great one. Roof asset management, how to maintain that roof so you get the most life out of it and you abide by the warranty conditions. So a little bit about myself. I grew up in Long Island, New York. I worked for a roofing company through high school and college. I was offered a position to open a branch in Atlanta, Georgia, right out of the University of Arizona with my business degree. I did that. It was the company I worked for through high school and college. He had enough confidence at 21 years old to send me there. He brought me down to Fort Lauderdale in 1982. And still friends with the family, 5 sons, Italian family. I was like the 6th son all the time, but it wasn't, blood. And I felt that, it's time for me to try my own. So I borrowed $15,000 from my dad, bought a pickup truck, and just grew it by doing what we say we're going to do. Always in the commercial end of the roofing. We never did the residential except for multi-family condominium and a lot of public bidding. 30% of it is still public bidding today. We have a huge bonding capability up to $150 million. My 2 sons joined me right out of college. They're in the bottom. That's my grandson. So we have the 3rd generation coming up. My boys are 37. They are twins. And they both do separate talents and inside and outside. So doing really well. And it's our whole family. We're a large family of 550 employees in business for 38 years. One thing I learned early on when I got down to Florida, these air conditioning were on the roof with 4x4 sleepers. And then the code change, you had to raise them. And it was hard to find a subcontractor that coordinate the roofing and the air conditioning. So we started out in about 25 years ago, bought a little company and we grew that. So we did our own air conditioning for many, many years. And now we have an advanced air system, which we're doing everything up to big chillers and everything else. But we brought it all in-house, and that was important. And lightning protection, same thing. Anything that's on the roof that we wanted to control, that it's only one company that owners have to deal with, so we can do that. Again, we specialize in the ReRoof and repairs and maintenance and coatings. And then roof asset management, I strongly suggest you watch that webinar. It's great to prolong the life of the roof, but also know where your problems are and get recommended actions, and you can actually dispatch from our advanced access web portal. And then we have solar. We got into solar about 17 years ago. We're the largest solar contractor rooftop in the state of Florida, top 50 in the country. And that's a great thing to piggyback. You'll hear about Broward County piggybacking a over 2 megawatt, $4 million job off a state contractor we have with the DMS. And they're very happy. We're just finishing that project up. We grew as most good companies do. We started out in Fort Lauderdale, and then we went up to Sanford. We bought a company in Tampa that was there for 42 years, Roth Roofing. And then we went to Jacksonville, Fort Myers, Miami-Dade. We've been down there for a while. We just bought our own building down there. So and we have Out of the 7 locations, 6 of them we own. We're looking for property in Fort Myers. We go into a community, we're there to stay. A lot of national companies, you'll know, you go over there and they're renting a warehouse somewhere, and when things dry up, you know, good luck finding them. So we're around, we've been around for 38 years. We get a lot of awards as well. I'm not going to list them here. Most recent one, I'm proud of, the NRCA CNA Charity Award. We got first place across the country. We helped the Bahamas after Doreen get back on its feet and send in pallets of tarps, water through our boats and planes. We helped them out tremendously. And then we didn't just leave. We went to the Abacos and we were able to get spec supply to donate enough shingles for 100 homes. We donated metal ourselves. And so we're proud to get that award and many quality awards, as you can see there. I'm going to show you a quick video of this is one of our favorite jobs. We were selected by to do the roof on the Hurricane Center, and that says a lot for our company. They know they have to be in business. They can't go down. So short video, Bill.
We did a walkthrough and we investigated the roof and found that there were actually areas underneath their mechanical equipment that were never flashed in correctly and were leaking water under the roof membrane. And this had been an ongoing problem. So that's the reason why they chose to re-roof this building. The roof was at the end of its life cycle. Well, this is a big roof. The scope of work on this building was quite extensive because it being such an importance of a building for the National Weather Service, the roof on this building has to withstand when they run their hurricane operation here. So it was a full teardown down to the concrete structural deck, followed by fully adhered 2 layers of 3-inch insulation, fully adhered in Sarnafil adhesive, followed by a coverboard, a gypsum coverboard, and a fully adhered Sarnafil PVC membrane. So it was then subsequently heat welded together and flashed around all the penetrations. The nature of this building is sensitive. There's a lot of electrical equipment, satellite dishes, mechanical, all kinds of stuff that has to continue operating through the duration of this project. So for us, that was a requirement from the owner, from the National Weather Service, from the contractor going into this project, was that we needed to roof around their functional rooftop mechanical equipment. And that's important to mention because when you're inside a building that's being re-roofed over, and you're tearing off roof, it can be loud. During the course of our project, we had several conferences that took place, and we had to work around all that. And I think it's worth noting that our crew really did their best to try and meet the needs of the scientists and people working in and out of this facility.
Yeah, so that just shows some of the jobs we really like, difficult jobs. That's where we really shine, and the easy ones too, service and repairs. So one of the things that I learned early on about being in Florida is the hurricanes, and we had a group of contractors, about 6 of us across the country. We formed Roof Connect, and today we have over 60 members and 120 locations. So we have access after a hurricane to 3,000 plus workers. So, and plus if it's in a South Florida hurricane, we can bring our own resources in, but we have access to that. Another advantage that you get when you can piggyback, you can see what the company's about. You know, we have a full-time quality control division with 5 quality control looking at our own work. Yeah, we're confident our guys do it right, but there's nothing like having another set of eyes and getting a 10 out of 10 from the manufacturer when they come out, because we do that. And then the safety department as well. We have a 0.59 EMR, which is that's 41% better than a competitor in a similar business. So we have full-time safety. So these are extra added on things besides price that you get when you do piggyback. So now Steve Shane is going to take over. He's our statewide government consultant. He's been consulting for over 25 years in the roofing business, and we grabbed him. We're fortunate to get him, and now he just goes around and helps government entities, help them design their plans. And Steve, take it away.
Thank you, Rob. Yeah, just as Rob had said, I've been in the commercial consulting world for most of my career, and I'm happy to be on board with Advanced Roofing. And sharing my knowledge with federal projects and my expertise in really putting together very large, logistically challenging roof asset management programs. So what we're going to talk about today, though, is our our usage and our, the term contracts and cooperative procurement contracts that we can offer our clients and potential clients. And when we talk about the objectives of today, we're looking at, what entities, what governmental entities can actually use these contracts and how they use them, what kind of contracts are available in the market, how we go about piggybacking and what the benefits of them are. And then Jason will be jumping into, once these contracts are in place and the piggybacking agreements have been established, what is the procurement process? And following that with a little bit more discussion on roof asset management and some of the capabilities that we have as a company to store and support these contracts. So before we get started, I just want to ask a quick polling question. Your agency currently utilize co-ops or term contracts, and if so, which one? We find that these contracts are becoming more and more popular. And a lot of times the establishment or creation of term contracts can be a difficult task to start with. So that's where some of the value of piggybacking also arise. Okay, so, interesting, as popular as cooperative procurements are nationally, it's interesting that the group that we have doesn't utilize any, and we'll talk about some of them and some of the benefits associated with them. But all in all, really any governmental agency within the state can utilize these. I mean, we look at K-12 school districts, they utilize both quite extensively. Some of the projects that we showcase in this slide include Fort Lauderdale Courthouse, a highly visible, extremely complex project. You can see by the streets and the parks and things around it, it's very logistically challenging from a project standpoint, along with Orange County Convention Center. We do a lot of work with some of the airports throughout the state, along with some of the ports, that being, Port Everglades, Port Manatee. So there's a lot of the governmental entities that can utilize these contracts, whether they are term contracts or cooperative procurement contracts. And this also can be utilized by nonprofits like churches, for instance, the Catholic Diocese of Palm Beach, County, or other dioceses across the state that have a lot of a lot of locations and a lot of assets, along with hospital chains are big into utilizing term contracts that they created. When we talk about term contracts and how they, versus, going through the RFP process, there's a lot of benefits and strengths towards it. First of all, when you're creating a term contract for a long-term period, you really control the process. I mean, you control the specific details that you want to help support your facilities group. You have the ability to advertise locally to fulfill your contractual obligations statewide and to get those local contractors. And as Rob had stated, pre-qualification, when you have control, you can base not only your term contract on price, but you can bring in these other elements that really put your facilities group in a good position with a qualified contractor. Like Rob had said, EMS ratings, huge. What are your financial capabilities? What are your performance histories locally? So there's a lot of different pre-qualification questions that you can inject into these term contracts that ultimately will benefit you. And when I'm talking about benefiting, the benefits, are, when you look at the challenges of the RFP process, once you have these contracts, you don't have to go through the process of getting a consultant or the lengthy process of the bidding itself for every individual process or for every individual bid. You can now go back to that term contract that you solicited for a given period of time. So, and, you know, as Rob had stated too, I think the value in that is you have control on the contractors. Again, when you publicly advertise, you're basically opening that bid up to a group of people that they may have the minimum requirements, but in the end, they may not have the full requirements to fulfill the quality into that contract. And what we find is in some cases, those contractors, you know, can't fulfill and those contracts are pulled. So in a lot of cases, you know, we have been approached to help fulfill the final contract agreement. And we don't want to be in that position. And, you know, when we compete for these term contracts, we really go after them hard. So I think that's why we have a pretty good arsenal within our toolbox. When we talk about national cooperative procurement contracts, you know, national cooperative procurement contracts have been around for over 30 years. And although they may have originated from a lead agency in another state, the value is that lead agency solicited nationally. So hopefully you're taking advantage of national pricing when you utilize one of these one of these cooperative procurement contracts. There are quite a few of them out there. And, you know, for instance, Omnia Partners, which was originally the National Institute of Governmental Procurement. That group is really a broker with a number of different contracts within its offering. They have 4 of them. I won't mention them now, but we support 3 of them. So we have the capability of supporting multiple there. We also look at TIPS as a viable option within the state of Florida. It's not used that often, but it's the interlocal purchasing system. One of the newer cooperative procurements that is now being introduced into Florida is the Equalis Group. And under the Equalis Group, there is one roofing and related services contract offered through Roof Connect, which Rob had just mentioned. So it's something as an option. It's something you may want to take a look at. We also support Sourcewell, and that map there actually shows all the regions within the state of Florida that we currently hold the contract for Sourcewell. That's a job order contract through Gordian under that the Sourcewell contract. And what that really does offer is a single source, pre-approved, nationally priced contract, very transparent option for procurement agencies. And then the last in there is the National Cooperative Procurement Network. You know, and there's more than that throughout the state or throughout the country, but these are just a few that are probably more, you know, relevant to the Florida market. Ultimately, utilizing a national cooperative procurement contract, you know, the goal is to save time and money, streamline the purchasing process, and ultimately shortening the execution of a contract over the typical traditional RFP process. So if we look at a cooperative procurement case study, I think, you know, from our perspective, a really good example, we do a work with the city of Miami Beach, and they had asked us to take a look at their historical Miami Beach Country Club. Beautiful facility, architecturally, you know, it's just an amazing site. And when they asked us to utilize, or, you know, they currently utilize the Sourcewell Gordian contract. So they came to us with a scope of work. We were able to go out there and take a look at the scope of work. And based on what they'd given us, it actually would have been cost prohibitive. You know, they gave us a budget of $250,000. But the system that they wanted really would have impacted the exterior aesthetics of the building. And so our design team went back to them with multiple options and laid out the pros and cons. And they came back and said, yeah, we agree with you. We would like to have this system. So we were able to offer them the 20-year system warranted system. Because of the cost savings that we offered, we were also able under, you know, that contract to enhance their drainage on their facility. We were able to address some of the, inherent other visual aspects of the building on the interior with stucco restoration. And also we were able to bring up their access points to OSHA level by replacing them with OSHA safety ladders. And the beauty of it was from January when they presented this project to the end of March going into April, we're looking at a 3-month window from start to finish. So the execution, we were able to get it done within the budget. It was streamlined. And there's just a few other cooperative procurement clients that we currently have listed on the bottom. So with that, let's take just a quick, another quick poll. What benefits for utilizing currently existing contracts do you value the most? Whether that, mostly in the piggybacking realm, if you do utilize them. We realize there's a lot of benefits to utilizing those contracts. Yeah, I mean, the predetermined pricing is definitely one of the values, and absolutely the expedition of the project. I think from a procurement standpoint in supporting their facility team is definitely one of the biggest benefits. We see that time and time again during the traditional RFP process. The hands seem to be tied of the facility team. They have the need, they have to get these things done, and yet the leaks continue because the process is not complete to get the work done. So definitely the expeditious value is there. One of the things too, Rob had touched on, we are multifaceted in that we have several divisions to support, our ultimate goal of roofing. And one of them is our contract with solar. And we utilize it quite a bit in combination with roofing. We have, the Department of Management Services and a lot of the term contracts. And I'll just ask Clint Zockman to just talk a little bit about this contract and how it benefits us as a company and you as an end user.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. We talked a lot about our roofing term contracts. And I think there's probably some familiarity with that, but we also have a state of Florida contract through the Department of Management Services that actually acts as an energy services agreement. And in addition to a lot of the benefits from a procurement standpoint, where you're able to not necessarily have to go out to bid or handle the design work and that expense associated with engineering and plan development, this term contract actually allows us to also avoid that initial capital expense and that the outlay and what can sometimes be an extended return associated with solar projects with municipal governments, because you're unable to capitalize on the tax credits and the depreciation that's out there. The energy services agreement contract that we've used with Broward County and also through obviously DMS, the primary sponsor of the contract, allows Advance to come in, design, own, operate, and then maintain the asset over a 20-year term where you just pay fixed payments quarterly for the asset. And therein lies the beauty of it. One, you don't have to have staff throughout the life of the asset to maintain it. You don't have to operate and insure it. And you still get the benefits of having solar, meaning all of that energy goes directly to you. You get it for a fixed price throughout the term of the contract. So just recently we engaged with Broward County for 8 sites in total. It was the project value itself, if it would have been put out through a bid procurement, or if the county had to buy it itself, would be over $4.6 million. And they avoided 80% of that capital outlay. Now, they did choose to use some of their environmental funds, about $900 and some thousand to buy down their initial rates so they could get carports, which are more expensive to build. But by and large, they avoided the capital expense. And they now have solar on a total of 8 sites for 2.3 megawatts, 2 carports, one at an addiction center, another at Central Broward Regional Park, and then rooftops throughout their portfolio. And we did all of this, the design collaboration from when we went to contract. It took about 4 months, and it's taken nearly a year to get everything built. Some of them were built within 2 months. Some of them have taken longer, whether it was for roof replacement projects. But the DMS contract really gives every purchasers a tool to avoid the capital outlay, still find a way to use those tax credits that are available through an energy services agreement, and then obviously deploy solar on top of their rooftops. It's been so successful. We're now looking at phase 2, and we're in the process of developing 4 more sites right now with them to add to their portfolio. So it's really a powerful tool to go out there and install solar that might be a little less familiar than your roofing, but it's a great contract. And when you combine it with your roof contracts, one of the projects did have a new roof come under a standard roofing term contract. So we put the roof on the Sterling Road Library and then the solar asset to follow up with it. And you can allow yourself to have a lot of flexibility. I'm going to turn it back over to Steve to continue the presentation.
Hey, Steve, just if I could just say a few words with Clint. You know, Clint came down from Ohio, family roofing business, been with us a long time, and worked himself up. He's now a partner at VP, and he has the license for solar. Very, very smart and good asset for us. But, you know, if you have interest in this, very easy to call Clint, and he has a short form, utility bills and that, and we can put something together very easily to give you an idea how this whole program works. But thank you, Clint, and go ahead, Steve.
Thanks, Rob. Yeah, I appreciate that input, Clint. But when you're talking about, again, the utilization of state contracts and local contracts, you can see the value, especially, in Clint's example where we're bundling things. But within the Florida Procurement Code, they actually have clauses in there that state that the contractor may, at its discretion, sell these commodities or services to additional agencies, and thus piggybacking upon the terms and conditions contained herein. And ultimately, what these clauses say is that these are pre-bid awarded contracts that are cost effective and really utilize best practices for procuring roofing needs. And again, when we look at the strengths of them, you're utilizing localized pricing. And the beauty within Advanced Roofing is that we've got 7 locations. So a contract that may have a lot of value to you that we've secured in Miami can equally be presented in Tampa, Jacksonville, Orlando, because those are areas where we have presence and would actually be considered localized, a local presence. So again, there's cost savings and time saving aspects to all these contracts. The only challenge is that, a lot of times when we get involved with piggybacking, these are pre-existing contracts. So there may be some, a time period that is expired, but that's not to say that you still can't use and, utilize the value of these contracts. And there are limitations to the terms. Obviously, they were, solicited by another entity. So the terms within these contracts have to be held. But a lot of the contracts that we piggyback on, they see the value of 1 or 2 of the bullet items within the contract. For instance, with the city of Coral Springs, we presented a term contract for piggybacking with the city of Sunrise, which has multiple unit prices for different repairs. Yet within that term contract, there is a provision for doing inspections, for doing general housekeeping, and providing minor repairs. And we utilize that contract with them to look at 77 other buildings. Ultimately, the value is $45,000, but the data that we collect goes right into our online system, which is something Jason will be talking about momentarily. But the value is that, they had their roofs looked at, information's gathered, general housekeeping, it was completed along with minor repairs. And ultimately, we're helping support that facility management group by providing them with a 5-year capital outlook. while looking at doing maintenance and other type of restoration options. So that's a good example of piggybacking. And you can see some of the other clients that we have that utilize this contract. Bill? So another poll. Would your agency prefer a single source contract that covers all related roofing disciplines? And by that, I mean something that covers everything from leak calls all the way up to capital roofing expenditures, or something more specific to fill the need of the toolbox. That might be preventative maintenance contract, which are out there. We currently hold preventative maintenance specifically for filling that need. Okay. It's good to know. I mean, obviously the one source fits all contract would be a good option. And there are term contracts that can fill all the needs. And again, this whole presentation revolves around procurement supporting facilities management, facilities groups or facility managers. And what I find is that there's a lot of tools that currently are utilized by procurement offices, but a lot of times there's holes within, that tool package. And I think we have a complete arsenal that once we evaluate what tools you're using, we can come back and sit down with you and really fine tune and fill those gaps. For instance, the continuing services contract would be a one source fits all kind of a tool. We have maintenance and repair contracts. One of those that is really missing in a lot of procurement contracts is our FEMA contract. And Robin mentioned, we have the resources not only through our 550 to 600 employees, but we have Roof Connect to help support that in the case of an event. We have time and material contracts for smaller things, task order contracts for filling bigger things. And again, one of the areas that I'm seeing more and more influence coming out from procurement is the roof inspection and preventative maintenance. And really what this does is it feels that need for preventative maintenance as opposed to reactionary repairs or replacement. So next. So I'd like to just show a quick video on how a FEMA contract would be extremely important after an event. And then I'll be turning it over to Jason to fill out the final asset management and how we get about procuring these things. Thank you.
Girl had suffered a severe loss from Hurricane Irma. We were called in the day after the storm to come assess the situation, and when we came upon the facility, we found a 100,000 square foot roof that had been completely blown off and breached from storm damage. As we started to inspect what had happened, we had found improper installation from a previous roofing contractor led to a catastrophic failure that was well below what the roof was designed for. So what we had come into was literally a disaster. What we did was mobilized 30 men in a crane the very next day, started cleaning up whatever debris was left behind, and immediately started reinstalling the new roofing system. So there was concurrent operations of the cleanup of the remaining system and debris, the engineering, the procurement, and then ultimately the installation of the roof system. Not only were we rectifying the issue of a blow-off, we were also strengthening the structure with additional deck enhancements and had to engineer that situation going on while we were procuring materials and prepping ourselves for the final installation. I think advanced roofing always thrives in environments that are tough. And you have a business that has been taken completely out of operation. No matter what business that is or what scale it is, you have people that are in need. Advanced roofing solves people's problems. We don't make problems. When we step in, we're generally an easy pill. We're here to make your life better. And that was something that I always take away pride of is, what, we're gonna get this place back on its feet, back to into operation, people back to their jobs.
Yeah, so my name is Jason Carruth. I run the Sanford location up, one of the 7 that Rob talked about earlier. So that particular project just kind of streamlines the capacity that Advanced Roofing has, right? So being able to respond that quickly with materials, with the manpower in order to get the casino back up on their feet. I kind of read this catch-22. It tells you 25 years of commercial roofing experience, kind of show your age also when you kind of brag about how long you're in it. But I'm also a 3rd generation roofing. My grandfather and my father, I think I, started when I was out of the womb looking at roofs, and kind of similar to Rob's grandson there in the pictures that you guys saw earlier. This is a picture of me in the Advanced Roofing Tar Peddlers bike jersey. We cycle every year for multiple sclerosis at MS 150 ride. I think Rob's been doing that with our team for 17 years, and we have raised over $700,000 in that period of time for MS. So I'm here to talk to you guys about once a contract is in place, once you decide which term contract, piggybacking, whatever entity you guys utilize is in place, how to utilize it to your capacity. Everybody on this call is either in procurement or facilities, and typically that's the 2 entities or two portions of the entity that we deal with when it comes to getting your solutions solved. Contracts in roofing as a service contract is a little bit different than a commodities contract where you buy things on a term contract like park benches and you get a fixed cost for it. So service in roofing is actually something that we have to identify what the problem areas are and apply those issues to the contract. So this chart right here is kind of a cycle from beginning to end as far as how we go about servicing the municipality or the city or the government entity from beginning to end. So typically, once a contract is in place, depending on what type of contract you picked or utilized, we do an inspection, or it could be a reactive or a proactive contract. Typically, the process is a facilities personnel contacts Advanced Roofing and says, I got a problem here. I need you to give me a price based off of the contract. So at that point, we enter the properties into our system and let me step back. So basically, we like to get inventory of all the properties that the entity has, how many buildings you have, addresses, all the locations, and we get that entered into our database, and we try to do inspections on all of those buildings prior to in the beginning, so we have an inventory of everything that you guys have under your envelope. The reason that we do this is the end idea is to basically have Advanced Roofing strengthen your portfolio of what kind of conditions your roofs are in. We have certified people, Steve talked about 85 plus entities across the state. We have over 500 employees at Advanced Roofing and 65 service trucks statewide to service these customers, and qualified personnel to walk roofs and find out what the problem areas are. This information then gets entered into the system under the customer in advanced access, which you'll learn about here shortly. And we try to gather as much information as possible. At this point, if you have an issue, or if you have a leak, or you're looking to get a roof replaced, or you're looking to have a problem area solved, a facilities personnel from the government usually contacts Advanced Roofing, and we schedule a visit. Upon our visit, we do an inspection of what the problem area is, and we try to apply what the repair method is for fixing the solution along to the contract specifications of whether it's a time and material, whether it's a task order. It all depends on what contract you utilized. So Advanced Roofing then puts together a scope of work. We identify it for an immediate fix or a long-term fix or whatever our recommendations are. And it comes together in a proposal format that then gets sent back typically to the procurement at that time. On the proposal, we identify a lot of key things that procurement looks for is the contract number, the ITB number, the RFP number, breakout line items based off of quantities. A lot of the public entities are under a microscope when it comes to being audited. So we're experienced in breaking out everything as far as itemizing linear feet, square feet, and how do we get to these costs. Therefore, it's pretty self-explanatory if that ever does come across from an auditing standpoint. The proposal then gets sent to procurement. Procurement provides a purchase order to get that leak repaired. The purchase order then gets entered into the system, and then we schedule the work back to the facilities who we met out there in the first place, and the work gets performed. And advanced access, which is the benefit, and you'll see that here shortly, is we identify all of the before and after pictures. We identify the linear feet, the quantities of materials that are used, the time that we're clocked in and out on the job. And all of this gets sent back to the customer in a proposal in an invoice format, identifying the PO number, identifying the contract number, and then it makes it easier for the entity to process the payment back to us. All of this gets stored into what we call advanced access. It's a platform that we utilize in our service department to inventory every aspect of whenever we touch your buildings. It is available for entities to log in onto their portal and have access to all their systems as well. And we provide training for that. And we really recommend that you guys look at that and utilize that. It makes it streamline processes a lot quicker as far as solving problems. So back to the inspection report. So what we like to do in the beginning is we like to identify, we meet with the entity, we try to find out what you already have in your files. What type of warranties do you have from roofing manufacturers? What roofs have been done recently? We take all that information and we process it per building based off of what you can supply us. The benefit of that is because we kind of know where we stand. We're certified with every roofing manufacturer in the United States or really across the world that provides roofs that are under warranty. Therefore, we have the ability to work under warranted roof systems and work with the manufacturer to solve your problems as well. So this slide here kind of just identifies some bullet points as far as what we do in order to capture everything for each individual roof for the inventory. Next slide. So another poll here, does your agency have a proactive management contract for preventative maintenance or roof asset management? Preventative maintenance is, and I got a case study here on a slide here shortly, is one of the best ways to minimize leak calls on your building. Maintaining the roof, and all manufacturers recommend that, pretty much split, wow, 33% all the way across the board. It's interesting. So this case study here was one of the first, actually the second term contracts that I got involved in 2009 with Martin County Schools. When we were approached them, they actually were spending a tremendous amount of money on their schools for being reactive and calling us up and stating, hey, I got a problem with this roof. We got a leak here. We serviced them in 2009 and basically tried to get them under this RAMP report and preventative proactive maintenance program. this is a comparison of how much money they were able to save over the period of time from a 1-year standpoint. So by calling us up and us going out there and responding to lead calls, they spent about $150,000 on 30 schools across the district, which is an enormous amount of money. I think there was over 100 lead calls that year in 2009. What we did is we implemented and we went and did inspections on back then it was called Roof Express reports on all 30 of their schools, and implemented a maintenance program where we identified all the problem areas. Twice a year, we would send service crews up there and they would walk every school, and there's a 9-point bullet system that we utilize to make repairs to items like pitch pans, penetrations in the roof system, coping caps, wall joints, window seals, any type of maintenance caulking, making sure that drains are clean, and gutters are clean, water flows off the roof correctly. In a 1-year standpoint, we took them to where their we reduced their repair cost by 40 grand, where they were just spending over $100,000 after the first year of maintenance. So it's a proven fact. We're doing that right now with all types of entities. City of Kissimmee is the latest that we've implemented that program with, and they will reap the benefits sometime next year when we'll kind of do a cost comparison for them as well. So as an owner or as the government entity, the building owners have responsibilities based off of the roof warranties from the manufacturer. The benefit of that is a lot of times, and I've run across where government entities don't allow their facilities guys on their roofs due to insurance requirements. So that's where we step in. We maintain these roofs and by making sure that the drainage is clear. This picture right here is obviously this roof is a disaster. Nobody's been up there in a long period of time, and there's vegetation and growth at the drainage areas and basically caused some problems. But the owner has a responsibility to the roof system and the manufacturer as well. And by we do the analogy of when you buy a new car off the car lot, it's your responsibility to maintain the oil changes, the transmission changes, the rotating the tires in order to maintain the warranty from the car dealer or the car manufacturer as well. If you drive your cars 25,000 miles and never change the oil and take it back in, they're going to look at you and go, well, you never maintained it. It's the same thing as the roof system. Manufacturer looks at you and says, you never maintained the roof. It's your responsibility to do these types of things during the duration of the 20-year, the 10-year contract, whatever it may be. So next slide. So this is the intro to Advanced Access. Advanced Access is our online management portal system that we utilize with all of our service industry and our HVAC department as well. And this is a good video to kind of educate the benefits of it.
This is Nicole. She is a property manager for 20 commercial buildings in the area. But Nicole is in over her head, literally, with roofing issues. She's spending most of her time coordinating maintenance and repairs, analyzing reports, and budgeting for future projects, all while frantically searching for her roof's important documents when issues arise. And to complicate matters, all of Nicole's properties have different roof systems and life cycles, making routine asset management nearly impossible. Nicole was feeling frustrated and overwhelmed, trying to manage all of her roofs using different paper forms and spreadsheets, when she heard about the Advanced Access Roof Asset Management Portal from Advanced Roofing, Inc. In business since 1983, Advanced Roofing, Inc. is ranked as the #1 commercial roofing company in Florida by Roofing Contractor magazine and specializes in roof replacements, repairs, and maintenance services for occupied buildings in Florida. Advanced Roofing implemented the Advanced Access Roof Asset Management Portal to help its customers achieve the maximum life cycle from their roofing assets through preventative maintenance. while feeling safe and secure by having complete control over their roofs 24/7, 365 days a year. From any internet-ready device, Nicole can now view all of her roof's information in one location, dispatch service with the click of a button, track work orders in real time, see photos from repairs, view warranty documents, and build custom reports for budgeting. Everything she needs is uploaded to her customer portal seamlessly and can be viewed from anywhere, anytime, even from the beach. With advanced access, Nicole can now streamline her roofing projects for good, allowing her to concentrate on what matters most, ensuring a safe environment for her tenants and saving money for her properties. So, if you're a building owner or property manager with multiple buildings to care for, don't get overwhelmed. Get advanced access. Be like Nicole and free yourself from the stress of roof asset management. To schedule your free demonstration of the Advanced Access Roof Asset Management Portal, contact Advanced Roofing today.
Yeah, so just to elaborate on that, so the roof asset management is basically the long term. So we identify what your problem areas are, and we also provide, re-roofing budgets for capital expenses based off of what we anticipate the life cycle of the roof to be. Nothing worse than an entity who has 25 buildings and all of a sudden 5 of the roofs need to be replaced within the same fiscal year. It's a huge impact financially to the district. And what we try to do is spread the life cycle out of the roof system by maintaining it and providing you with budgets for short-term and long-term solutions based off of re-roofing or, intermediate repairs, or sometimes we can do roof coatings depending on what type of system it is. The other benefit of advanced access is your ability to identify or log into the system and communicate with your people in the field or your facilities in the field in real time. So property managers utilize this tremendously by informing their tenants when we're going to be there, what was done, whether or not their solution was resolved. From a government standpoint, it'd be the same scenario where you could identify whether it's school A, school B, or whether or not it's a certain part of the airport, or whether or not it's a certain part of the, whatever the case may be, in real time by logging into the portal and seeing where we are. Kind of relate that flow chart to the Domino's Pizza app of when it's in the oven, when it's being prepared, when it's being prepared, when it's in the oven, when it's being delivered, and when it's dropped off at your door. So you have the ability to find out exactly where the roof repair is in a timeline. This slide right here kind of highlights the benefits of what advanced access offers. I just talked about the real time. You can request repairs right through the app by just clicking that service dispatch on the building. And basically we offer this free training. The other thing that's a benefit that kind of correlates with this is when we do these inspections, we also identify your rooftop equipment, your HVAC units. We take pictures and document serial numbers. Going back to the Martin County School District, when Charlie and Francis came across and Gene came across, I don't know what year it was, I forget, but they lost a ton of rooftop equipment and never had any documentation as far as what the replacement costs were for the insurance companies. So therefore they were out of pocket a ton of money based off of knowing what serial numbers and what type of carrier HVAC unit or whatever the manufacturer may be. With this documentation, we identify your rooftop equipment as well, in case there is a hurricane, which we talked about earlier. Our next webinar is about hurricane preparedness. So highly recommended. Advanced access is basically the informative platform between the customer and us, and the best way to document everything. Our information will be at the end of this presentation as far as requesting a free inspection. You can also email you links to a certain entity that has inspections already done, and we go from there. So the next slide. Yes, I did a little homework before this presentation here, and then I know that the next webinar is hurricane preparedness. So the new predicted 2020 just came out for the Atlantic hurricane basin season, which was a couple weeks ago. And I went back and I said, well, I remember 2020 was very active, but the predictive in 2020, they said it would be 16 to 20 named storms with 7 hurricanes and 3 to 4 major hurricanes, where we actually ended up with 30 named storms, 13 hurricanes, and 6 major hurricanes. And I think Dorian, which Rob referred to earlier, was one of the most catastrophic, hitting the Bahamas. So weather meteorologists are pretty much the only ones that can get their job wrong and still have a job. So it's been out this year that they're same scenario, 7 hurricanes predicted with 3 to 5 major hurricanes. And that webinar there will kind of give you an idea of how to what to do before hurricane season, preventative maintenance, walk-in roofs, identifying rooftop equipment, all that stuff falls right in line with what we talked about today. And then you can go to our website and click on any of those other webinars as well. This is our contact information. Those are both Steve and I's cell phone numbers. We're not scared to give them out. You guys can call us with any questions that you have or send us emails.